Hey, black women. There's a video floating around TikTok, right? And I see it's making its rounds on YouTube with this really big mouth black woman claiming that she's from New York City. Trying to convince people that Hispanic people are getting $13,000 in EBT, which is food stamps, and over $5,000 in cash. I know I have told you guys more than once that I actually work for the city, which is under the mayor, and all of those different policies and programs that go into effect for migrants, I deal with that every day. I know I have told you that countless times, right? She's lying. She's lying. She is a ridiculous black woman where I really don't understand these black women that have nothing better to do than to go on TikTok and YouTube and make these race mongering and wrong information mongering, wanting to pit one party against the other instead of dealing with the realities of life, and doing all of this just so an Indian black woman doesn't become president. And they will go to all these lengths to tell lies, make up stories, and create shit that doesn't exist, and allow a person like Trump, who is the fucking grand wizard of the KKK, to get into office and to fulfill his plan of totally changing this country, gutting the Constitution, taking away all of the civil rights acts for black people, taking away all women's rights over their bodies. They would rather lie about the Democratic Party and what my mayor, Eric Adams, is doing in New York City, which I don't think this woman lives, because she just was screaming completely awkward to me about New York City, that she is not how we get down. She is not who we are. Her tonation, her mentality, what she's talking about. Because you know what? Real New Yorkers, we see these people. We see them every day, how they live here. And depending on where you live in New York City, and I've said this before in videos as well, in my area, the Hispanic people are not living that well over here. They live worse than everybody over here where I live. If you go to other parts of Queens, sometimes those Hispanic people live better than black people. Yes, this is true. But you could then do that for every demographic in New York City, because Queens has the most diversity in all of New York State. Right? So depending on where you live will determine if you have more or less than another group of people. She is not from New York. I know it with all of me. Okay? Because we here don't care about dumb shit like that. The majority of us black women, we have our jobs. We work for the city. Like 90% of us work for the city. We work good jobs for the city, making damn near $100,000 a year. The other half of us, or the rest of us, work for the state, and then you have those black women that work for the federal government. And for the ones that are like really credentialed down, they work full-time either for the city or full-time for the state, and then part-time with state and city or city and state. So when I tell you black women here with credentials make money, and we don't see or give a fuck about any of this stuff these people are talking about, it is real. Okay? The last thing on my fucking mind is worrying about what a Hispanic person is getting versus me, because I know that they're not being treated good at all. Like, you guys really don't understand how fucked up those shelters are. You don't. You do not. Okay? And the violence in that place is insane. And don't forget, they got babies in there. They have children in there with all that crazy shit. All right? You have people getting stabbed and killed in there. You have people getting shot and killed in there. Strangled, beat to death. Let me tell you something. And for them to try to pretend like this is a new thing because of the migrants, that is not true, baby. Not true at all. Do you know before the migrants got here, there was a very famous shelter for men, single men in Brooklyn, that had to be shut down, condemned by the city because of the fucking violence and the criminality in there. to the likes of nothing we have seen in any of these shelters with the migrants. Believe me when I tell you. Now, this woman, right? She seems to be one of the many women and dudes on TikTok and YouTube, right? But she comes from TikTok, because I saw her video initially on TikTok, and I actually spliced it, right? Because she's lying. And what she's doing is, she and a lot of these other dudes and other people like her, they're going crazy because they're literally projecting their internalized racial hatred and white supremacy and misogyny and all that all that stuff they feel about black people on a whole, where, you know, some certain black people suffer from inferiority complexes. So they got to make it seem like, oh, this person's getting more than me, and look what I got, because they don't get up off their ass and do nothing for themselves, right? Well, that's not the case here in New York City. Contrary to all of the wrong fucking stereotypes and all the false narratives that's going out about New York City, there are no migrants getting better treatment than the actual residents of New York City. All those people, like the residents that are in the shelters with the regular residents in New York City, believe me, I deal with them every day. They going through the same situations as the other people from New York City. They getting the same amount of money, basically. And let me explain it to you. When you live in the shelter, you automatically get more money from welfare than a person who lives in an apartment who's on welfare, because you don't have your own home. So welfare in New York City looks at it like, well, you don't have a place of your own, so we don't know if the hotel you're in actually has a stove or a refrigerator. So we're going to give you extra money so that if you have to eat outside every day, we're trying to make it where you can eat and your children can eat. Now, the one thing people don't talk about in New York City, which they pride themselves on, is New York City doesn't like to see children go homeless. Hungry. They're always homeless, most of them, right? But they don't like to see kids hungry. So they have food programs in school for children in school, even other kids that don't go to the school, and teenagers up to 19 years old. You don't have to be in school. You could be homeless. You could go to the school and eat morning, noon, and night. But after 19, 20 years old, they will not feed you. Then we have food pantries that give out food every day. We have churches that give out food like 2 or 3 times out of the week. We also have organizations. We have Catholic charities. We have all of these places. We have New York City food. Listen, there's so many places for people to get food here. They don't want to see people hungry. So for this woman to come making a lie about the amount of money a fake Hispanic person in the shelter has is bullshit. Because number one, New York City welfare puts a cap on the amount of food stamps a family gets despite the size. They put a cap on the amount of cash assistance a family gets despite the size. Now, I would get in trouble if I literally went to work and printed those policies out and showed you online, so you know I can't do that. But everything has increased in this city since this mayor's last 2 years in office, because this is his last year in office, right? So he's doing a lot of things to try to win over the people to be reelected. But social welfare has not changed. They increased the amount for the city vouchers for people to get apartments because landlords were not accepting the vouchers. So they increased the amount that's given to the family size. So, of course, they could pay for a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment if the rents are crazy. That only makes sense. But for this woman to be sitting here talking about this lady had $13,000 balance, get the fuck out of here. No, she did not. Okay? And then on top of that, there are programs New York City has, right? Where when you get a receipt, right? This is how New York City works. There are different codes on your receipt for food stamps, for cash. Sometimes people have a paid amount that goes for their Medicaid, depending on if they're a person with disability, etc., right? So you have that. Then you also have different programs for housing, like when a person is working full-time and they're on welfare, they live in a shelter, and they find an apartment. New York City will pay 4 months up front with a program called an enhanced one-shot deal, where they literally will give a person 4 months rent up front to pay for the apartment. But just because it's on there, or it may be on their printout for their case summary, that by no means that person has access to thousands and thousands of dollars. That is called a special grant, which is put on that person's case, so that when that landlord fills out the paperwork for welfare and says, yeah, this person is cool, they're clear, they can move in, blah, 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 welfare tallies up the money, puts all that information on the person's case summary. And yes, if that person has that paperwork and whatever else they're doing, and they have that information, which is rightfully theirs by law, yes, you will see all that type of information on the paperwork. But that does not mean that person has access to that money to just do with it as they will. Nope, that's not how this city works. So that lady is telling an absolute lie, because there is no one in New York City walking around with $13,000 in food stamps. No, they're not. They're not. And then the other thing you got to know about New York City is that when you have a household, like a big family, let's say you had a family of 10 people, and then you had a daughter that has children, right? There could be 2 families on one case. All right? Because they're in one, sorry, I said that wrong. One household could have 2 cases. But because the mother is the mom of the daughter with the child, the mother's name will be first. And the daughter, even though she has her own case, she'll still be listed in that household. And everything that they get will be tallied together, but given to them separately. You understand what I mean? So for this lady to be talking about, oh, she got $13,000 balance, and no, she didn't. No, she didn't. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of those vendors and stuff like that, they're not even giving that much information about the clients as much as they used to before, because they were actually stealing the client's food stamps. They would say the person bought something or swiped it, and the person didn't buy nothing or swipe their card. And that has been a big issue in New York City too. But honestly, I don't care what that woman is saying or what story she has made up. That shit is not true. The most a person can get in New York City for food stamps is less than $10,000. Do you hear me? Less than $10,000. Now, yes, you will have people that have a big ass family and have $7,000 in food stamps, $8,000. Yeah. But they have to have a huge family. And a lot of times it's like extended families where it's like the grandmother, the grandfather, the mother, the father, a whole bunch of kids. All right? That's New York City. What they do in other cities, I don't know. But here, they not giving away money like that. Believe me, they not. But they will pay a hell of a lot for you to live somewhere. They will pay a hell of a lot for you to go get trained. Like anything that has to do with you, they will pay for that. But they're not giving you that money in your hand. So that lady is a liar. And the only thing that the mayor did this summer that has never been done before in New York City is because he's trying to get elected, is he gave families on welfare who have more than one child, well, children period, because it's every child, $350 a piece for each child. Okay? So if you have 2 kids, you know that's $700 extra. If you got 3 kids, you just keep adding, right? So yeah, he did do that. And the reason he did that was because we have a city council here, right, that literally listens to us. When I call my city council person, right, Councilman Moya, and I call and I'm yelling and screaming and everything like that, and his staff is listening to me, he takes that back to their meetings. He takes that to the council leader, Miss Adams, who is no relation to the mayor, and they complain and they fight for their constituents and for the public with the mayor. And a lot of women were complaining last year because around the beginning of school in New York, school starts down here in September. Most other places start in August, right? So we start the second week of September, and a lot of the kids were going to school with no new clothes. They didn't have all the school supplies that they needed because there are no jobs like that down here for people who are not like who are not college educated and who don't have like real credentials to work somewhere to make a real salary or decent living. Like, the low income jobs here are bad. They're bad. And because the mayor has done such a poor job in managing the money of the city, a lot of the big retail stores that we used to have here, they're leaving New York City. They're like just closing up and going away. And the ones that are here, they rarely hire. And the people that they do have there, they keep them forever. And because we had just went through a new raise in retail, where now the people make like, was it $19 an hour here or something like that? They're not really hiring people. And so people are left to do like part-time jobs to try to make a full-time job. And the cost of childcare here is incredible, right? Even when they get childcare vouchers, it's just because the people are greedy. The people who are actually the childcare providers, they are crazy greedy. Instead of them accepting like, let's say $350 a child a week, they don't want that. They want $1,500 or $1,200, anything over $1,000 for a kid a week. That's how they're acting down here. They're being really crazy. And they're doing this because they're demanding this not of the parent, they're demanding this of the city. So the city has to pay the bulk of the child care. But then the responsibility for the parent may be damn near $1,000 a month. And when you add that to rent, food, car fare, living expenses, who can afford that shit? Who can afford that? So believe me, everything that woman is talking about is some bullshit, okay? Bullshit. And the other thing that I told y'all before that y'all don't want to believe or don't want to recall is that whenever these migrants fuck up in New York City, they get in trouble with the law for any reason, you know they deport them, right? They deport them right away, regardless of the fact that they have a hearing date coming up where they're supposed to go before the judge to see if they're going to be given asylum or not. If they fuck up, they're on a plane out of here. And that's another thing they don't tell y'all, which is behind the scenes stuff that actually happens. Every day in this city, they put them on trains, put them on planes, and put them on buses and ship them to other places in America and ship them out of America. So don't believe her. She doesn't know what she's talking about, and I doubt very much she's from New York City or that she knows. She probably just made that woman up and everything she's talking about, because it's just stupid shit. Because if she knew, like, there are people like me whose job it is to find them apartments outside of New York City. That's what we do. All day we find them different places to live that's not here. And we run the numbers about who comes, who goes, all the stuff that deals with their living, their expenses, where they're at, tracking them. That's what I do every day. Every day. And then I report to people that work under Mr. Adams to let them know what's happening. So her spewing all that is a bunch of bullshit. Complete bunch of bullshit. I mean, we make sure if the kids are college age, they fill out their FAFSA applications. If they are in a position to get the TAP or the Pell, they apply for it. We try to make them go to, not make them, give them the opportunity of choosing any school they qualify for, even if it's in fucking Hawaii or Alaska. So all the things that she's talking about is bullshit. And we do that for every child in New York City. not just migrants, right? There have been families that I've worked with in the past in other positions where I just seen one of the girls I used to work with about 7 years ago. She was one of my girls in foster care when I worked for ACS, right? And she's grown now. And when I had her case, she had come here, her mother had come here illegally and left her with a grandmother. So I had to take up her case. And when I got her case, I had to end up like getting all her paperwork from Guyana, her passport, everything that she needed officially to stay in America. Then when she got it, I helped her apply for colleges because she had been going to school the whole time, right? And so then when she went to school, I lost track of her because I no longer was doing that work, and she grew and all this stuff. And then one day I went to the doctor, and who's working in the doctor's office but the very girl, Amina, that I used to have on my caseload. And at first she didn't think it was me, and I couldn't remember her for the life of me. My memory's so terrible. But I remembered her. And she was so happy to see me, talk to me, thank me, tell me how great everything worked out for her and that her grandmother's okay, this, that, and the other. And this is just how we do here in New York City. So for people to be making up lies, it's just insane. And I really wish y'all would stop believing all of these insane stories just to get you to vote for somebody that's gonna like really make your life bad, really, really bad. Like I really don't know how many of you have read the Project 2025. It's disgusting. And as black people, you should be upset and outraged over a person like that trying to get you to vote for Donald Trump instead of Kamala Harris. Because let's be honest about shit. You could call yourself an independent or any of the other 5 parties that are out there. But the 2 main parties are always the ones that get voted in any primary or general election, and you know this. So I don't even understand where black people are coming from when they're supporting their own downfall by talking about voting for Trump. It makes no sense. And then they're always talking about policies and imaginary things like this woman that's happening when it's not. And believe me, the things I'm telling you about, that woman is not privy to, because she does not have my clearance and she does not have my title. So she would not know anything she's talking about like that. I just wish that black women would understand that white man is trying to take all your rights away from you. Not just about your body and abortion. He's trying to take away the most important right that you have, period, which is your freedom and your right to vote. If you do not have your right to vote, you cannot fight against anything horrible that this world or this country is doing to you. All you could do is deal with it, suffer, and try to fight back in ways in which you're probably going to die. Because y'all are all upset over Sonia Massey, right? You think that Sean, whatever his name is, should burn in hell, right? I agree too. However, when you telling black people to vote for Trump, you're voting for every cop that's on the street to be like Sean, out here killing black people whenever they feel like it, because Donald Trump said when he gets in office, all police officers are gonna get full immunity, meaning that they are free to kill you, they're free to beat you to death, run you over with their car, stab you, beat you, just walk up to you and beat you, do whatever the fuck they want to you, because they have immunity. They're allowed to do that. He is giving them the ability to be above the law. And for you guys to be clamoring towards that and wanting that and trying to make that happen, all because you have such hatred for seeing a Indian black woman become president, because you feel like black women don't deserve nothing and should not be in control of nothing, because you got black males in your ear so hard religion in your head so hard about these niggas should be leading you, like you're not a fucking grown woman with a brain of your own that you should be utilizing. I just find it really, really crazy to see y'all going out of your way to fuck yourself up in the end. And even people where I thought they actually had like brains, like Simply Said, this is where I saw the video at, right? I'm like, why would she be putting this up here, giving a title like this is what the Dems are doing? Like, are you fucking crazy? The Democrats are not doing that. And when you know how the government works, the president don't have shit to do with what the mayor is doing with social services locally. That is Congress, who lets out the money federally to give to the state, who then disseminates it locally. Like, what the fuck is wrong with everybody? Why are y'all losing your minds and acting like you don't know how things work, or you can't take the time to sit your ass down and how many of y'all have actually read the Constitution? If you read the fucking Constitution, believe me, you'll be very informed. It will tell you the powers of the president, the powers of the Congress, the powers of the Senate, and how the three branches work. You need to sit your ass down and read it. So that when people make videos like this lady did, that Simply Said put on her channel and then puts that ridiculous title underneath, you will know by reading the title and listening to not even a minute's worth of the stupidity that woman was saying on that video, that whole video is a crock of shit. Like, first off, that's not happening in New York City. Not happening. Not at all. There's a cap on everything. And New York City has been in the position of welfare reform since Clinton was in office. Now, before Clinton, there were tons of black women with 13,000, even 20,000. There were black women that were actually able to buy homes off of living on welfare. There were black women that we see right now as our Congress people, our Supreme Court justices, and etc., that were on welfare, who lived in New York City before Clinton became president, who there was no cap on money. There was no cap on anything. You got paid by welfare by the amount of people in your family, or the heads of every household, before Clinton became president. So since Clinton till now, New York City has had a cap on all of its public assistance, all of its welfare programs. So for her to come and say that is bullshit. And like I told you, there are so many different programs and special grants that different clients get who have PA cases, but it is not literally for them to take it and use it as they want, which is what she's implying. And believe me, I doubt it that woman, whoever the fuck she is, if that person even exists that she's talking about, that she knows their case history from welfare, because that's not public information for people who are not involved in the case. Okay? It's just bullshit. And I just really wish black women would wise up and stop this self-destruct road they're going down. Like, you gotta know to get out of your own way. You have a white man trying to become president for the second time with intentions of becoming a fucking dictator. A dictator. What about that doesn't scare the shit out of you? You do know that dictators mean no more democracy, right? No more democracy. No more you saying what you don't like. No more you saying anything against the president or his Gestapo gonna come kill your ass. No more you being free to talk whatever shit you want on YouTube, TikTok. No more of that shit. No more of that shit. Complete martial law. If you don't know what martial law is, you need to look that shit up too. Because he's not playing. And if you want an example of what he's actually trying to create in America, look at Hungary. Hungary is a country right now that has a dictatorship that used to be a democracy. And Trump is very good friends with the president of Hungary, Viktor Orban or Ordain, some shit like that. That man, Viktor, the president of Hungary, is what Trump wants to be in America. Read something. Learn something. Stop listening to stupid fucking videos like that, clouding your head with stupidity. It's very simple. The orange dude, Trump, wants to be a dictator. He wants to take away women's rights and make the country different from what it is now. He should not even be a thought about being voted for. The Asian black woman, Kamala Harris. Her whole life, she has professed to be a black woman. You could go back to any interview you can find. She speaks about being a black woman. As much as they lie about her past and what she has done in all of the careers that she has had, she has never done any of those things they are accusing her of. So, if she's trying to give you an opportunity to get to the point where you organize grassroots organizations and you come together in all your different communities throughout America and present to her the issues you want the federal, state, and city of every state in this country to address for black people, and especially black women, for those HR bills to go back to become law that were introduced 2 times already and failed because of the Republicans, to protect black women and girls from black femicide and human trafficking. You're being given an opportunity to do that and to actually make it work. But instead of you moving forward towards the right path to get this country to a point again where everybody is able to make money, able to live and generate some type of generational wealth, you're trying to go towards a fucking white male maniac who wants to take us back to the fucking plantation and Jim Crow. Y'all got to make this shit make sense to yourselves, because you are just being fucking stupid. And if you fuck around and find out, it is going to be beyond fucking too late. Because he has every intention of not just having the police mow your ass down. He going to bring the National Guard to fuck you up too. That's why you need to read project2025.org and Agenda 47. Because he doesn't hide anything. He was stupid enough to put everything that he wants to do in writing. So it's right there for you to read all the madness he has planned. I can't. This is why education is so powerful, and why you need to take your ass to school and learn to be a Renaissance citizen of this world, not just a citizen of America, of the whole world, so that you are so aware of current events throughout this world. You're on point with what's going on. Who's the movers and shakers? Who's the bad guys? Who's the people who are trying to fuck shit up? And who are the ones putting the fires out? You need to know all of this stuff. And you need to have more discernment about the crazy ass fucking creators that you listen to online. I'm dead serious. All of them. And this is the one thing I will say about that I think is a fucking shame, because it really seems like, and I really didn't care for her and don't care for her, but I respect and give credit where credit is due. But it really appears that when Cynthia left YouTube, all the intelligence and the ability for black women to be subjective and to use logic and to deduce some shit from everything they're given went right out the window, and they just went straight to stuck on fucking stupid. For the majority of those women that are hell-bent against Kamala, like they personally know Kamala. They don't know her. But it's just that their internalized fucking racism and misogyny that is making them hate on another woman because, oh, fuck that bitch. Why should she be a president if I ain't got shit in life and I can't do nothing with my life? That's all that shit is coming from. And that's some sad fucking shit. And you need to get your fucking head together. Because you're going to fuck around and put a maniac in office who wants to be fucking Hitler. And you're going to find out just how fucking racist and savage white people could be. Anyway, let me go ahead. Because after a while, you just get tired of talking to people who are not listening and who are just too fucking stupid with this whole Kamala thing. The situation and the decision is easy. It is Kamala. It is the lesser of two evils in comparison to a white fucking Klansman. What is wrong with you black people? What is wrong with you black people who are so fucking hell-bent against Kamala Harris for president? Please grow mentally. You need some emotional intelligence right about now. I can't with this. It's just too stupid.